At what age did you find your passion for cinematography and photography?
I grew up, well, let's say I was a teenager in the 1960s in Chicago. The 1960s was a very passionate period. It was a cultural revolution. A lot of people were speaking out against different things: the Vietnam War, hippies, free love, the Black Panthers, civil rights, all kinds of stuff was going on. As a result of that, all kinds of cultural expressions were happening. There was an upsurge in political art, music, dance, all these things. As a young kid, made me want to become a part of them. My buddy, his name was Louis, had an older brother. His name was Bobby Singstack. They owned a newspaper called the Chicago Daily Defender. It was a black newspaper, the oldest publication in the country. And Bobby worked there. We went to a convention one time. Well, I was fascinated by Bobby
Mhm.
because he had a dark room where he would work on his pictures. And he looked real cool because he had a lot of cameras hanging off of him. His girlfriend was pretty and he had a hip car. I wanted to be Bobby. Bobby was about 10 years older than me. I wanted to mess with those cameras too. So we went to a convention and Bobby let me use one of his cameras to take some pictures with. I was probably 15 and a half years old. And we shot the picture. I shot my roll of film. We processed it. He looked at my pictures and said I had an eye. Oh, I was like, whatever that is, I'm glad I got it. And he began to teach me photography. And he turned me on to a book. Oh, one thing, Bobby was also not just a newspaper photographer, he was a street photographer in the tradition of Cartier-Bresson and all those people. Um, well, you can look them up, street photographer. And he turned me on to a book. It was called The Sweet Flypaper of Life and had photographs by Roy DeCarava. And this narrative was by Langston Hughes. The photographs and the story. The photographs were candid street life in Harlem, New York in the 50s. And the narrative was the day in the life of a family in Harlem. I saw those pictures and I saw Bobby's pictures, and I felt like that was something that I could do. So at 15 years old, I was like ready to do this. I was ready to like take pictures. I wanted it. So that's when I started taking pictures. I started working for the newspaper. I started studying different photographers that impressed me. And the list is long: Dorothea Lange, um, Alfred Stieglitz, uh, Gordon Parks, these people that took pictures of undisturbed life. I felt like I wanted to do that. And I could do it in my community. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I still do that. I still carry a camera every day. It's what I do. Then I got a scholarship to a school in the South called Fisk University. And while there, Bobby had an artist in residence. I was his assistant. So while I was there, this man used to come down and do this lecture. Carlton Moss is his name. He would come down there twice a month. And he would teach this class called The Image of the Black Man in American Cinema. And the first film we ever studied was Birth of a Nation. And then after that, all kinds of films showing how Black characters were being depicted in story. And he looked at my photographs one day and said, "Oh my God, you're a cinematographer." I didn't know what that was. I had never heard the word before. Long story short, he invites a guest down there. The guest is named Usman Sambini. He's a very respected director. He's from Senegal, and they call him the father of African cinema. And his stories are amazing. And he brought a story down there called The Money Order and another one called Black Girl. And one morning, Carlton and Usman Sambini knocked on my $50 a month apartment. And he came inside, and Carlton said, "Show him your photographs." He looked at him and he said, "He is a cinematographer." Well, okay. So then what happened was, of course, Carlton began to tell me more and more about that job and what it was. And he came down to Nashville to make a film, an industrial film. And I looked through that movie camera, the cinematographer, Roger Barlow, let me look through that movie camera. And I saw that Shutter movie. And I panned that thing and I fell in love. I wanted to do that too. There was a man named Cal Bernstein and a woman named Roz Bernstein. They owned a commercial company and they were close friends with Carlton. They sent me a camera, some film, tripod, changing bag, and Carlton got me a subscription to American Cinematographer magazine, which I've been a member of since 2004.
Mhm.
And I've been a vice president for 6 years. And that's where it started.
Interesting. So would you say you received support from the adults around you, or was it kind of the pressure to do something else in your life, like with this passion?
I was impressed by so many people around me. And I can take none of that credit myself, except for my love of the things that I saw. But I stand on the shoulders of all these people. Everything, the reason I'm here with you right now is because of my friend Bobby being generous enough to teach me cinematography. And I'm here with you right now because of all the people I met at Fisk University and Carlton who nurtured my love for being able to do what I do now and just becoming the compass that navigated me. So yeah, I stand on the shoulders of so many people, just so many people.
So I'm interested in learning some of your experiences with making music videos. So for you personally, who would you say would be some memorable artists that you worked with?
I've worked with Stevie Wonder on a lot of videos. I've worked with the Isley Brothers, the Gap Band, Mac 10, Tupac, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg.
Who were some of the best to work with and like you enjoyed the most?
You know who I enjoyed working with Snoop Dogg a lot. I liked working with all of them. I mean, I loved just having the opportunity to be in the presence of so many talented people. I mean, Stevie Wonder is a force of nature. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And to be able to work with Spike Lee as a director and to work with Snoop Dogg on these crazy videos. I don't know if you've ever seen that video called What's My Name, where he changes into a dog. Did you ever see that
I
video?
don't think I've seen it.
Oh man, you got to look it up. It's the
I will, I
coolest.
will.
It's probably the coolest video I ever made. So, What's My Name? Um, that one is one of my favorite videos. But my favorite person to work with was to work with Ice Cube. I used to love to work with Ice Cube. And the reason why love to work with Ice Cube so much is because he understood story.
Mhm.
And not only did he understand story, but he had a passion that was different than anyone else. And what I mean by that is it was a strange marriage between the music world and the film world. You know, a lot of the people in the music world didn't understand time. And the movie business is all about time. You know, you just got a certain amount of hours in the day
Mhm.
and you got to get it done. And a lot of those, I mean, I worked with music video cats, I mean, different artists, but we're supposed to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I don't see them cats until it's like 1 o'clock. So whatever idea you had, that is going down the toilet because there's not a second day to do it. So all of a sudden you have to start thinking on your feet and coming up with an idea to get that video finished, right? But on the other hand, whenever I work with Ice Cube, he understood it.
Mhm.
Not only did he understand how valuable the time was, but he had a concept of story. He knew how to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
In those days, they weren't performance videos, they were always stories, you know, like you check yourself or it's a good day or any of them videos, it starts at one place and winds up at another. So then I made a lot of music videos for artists that didn't go anyplace. I made lots of videos.
Hmm.
And again,
Would you say that you've kind of stopped making music videos in the recent years, or do you still continue to work on that with certain artists?
well, after I finished making this whole world of 90s videos,
Hmm.
I got a call from a company in Paris that wanted to do remakes of a lot of the videos that I did. So I continued to make videos with them. But the problem with making videos, which is always tough getting paid, you'd finish a video, you'd say, "Where's my check? We're going to have it on Monday." You couldn't even reach anybody on Monday, right? And I made a living making music videos, but it was just so difficult. I did a documentary for Showtime on the history of funk or something like that. And one of the producers called me up a couple of years later and introduced me to a company called the Film Syndicate. At that time, you'd drop off demo reels to people, to production companies so they could see your work. And whenever I drop a demo reel off, I take a small piece of tape, like slit with a razor blade, and I put it on the box. So then when they said, "Come by and pick up your reel," you could tell whether or not they opened up the box, right? And 9 times out of 10, they hadn't opened up nothing, right? So you would take it. And one company that I was really excited to work for was the Film Syndicate. You'd always hear about them doing cool stuff. And people that would talk to me there were really nice. I enjoyed listening to them lie about having seen my reel.
Hmm.
And then what happened was that producer says to me one day, she calls me about 2 years later. I wasn't even that close to her on the productions, but she was kind. So she called me up. She said, "My cameraman left me because he has a real job and I've run out of money, but I have 2 shoot days left and I need a cameraman and I need a camera and I need a sound man and I need some lights. I don't have anything because he had everything. Would you mind helping me do it?" I said, "I don't mind. We're not doing anything. I'm not doing anything these days. Can you get other people for me?" I said, "Sure, no problem." She says, "Do you have any problem with gay people?" I said, "Like what?" "Any problem." I said, "Fuck do I care?" Right?
Yeah.
I go there and I shoot this thing, and it turns out to be RuPaul and um, a whole bunch of other famous people. And they're talking about having come out the closet, right? And her and I became friends from making that documentary. I mean, that documentary for her. And about 6 months later, she calls me up to do a commercial with John Madden, the football player. And he had did this video game,
Yeah.
and the commercial was about the video game. And it was for the Film Syndicate. So I did the commercial. And the next thing you know, I'm working for them all the time. And I was so glad because now I could say I don't want to work on music videos
Mm.
because it was too hard to get my money. I was making gang videos, for Snoop Dogg and all these other Crips and Bloods and shit, right? You always felt like you're on the edge of danger, you know.
Yeah.
I was glad to like start making these things for the Film Syndicate, and the Film Syndicate basically changed my career because it elevated the quality of my work. It was consistent. I was able to get a house. My car wasn't raggedy anymore.
That's all.
I'll always take pictures. I also paint.
Hmm.
I'll keep doing motion pictures until people stop calling me. I wake up every morning excited and curious about it.
Hmm.
I just showed you that subway station. I can't wait to light it. I thought about it all night, and now I'm going to get to light it today. I love this. I am. I can't imagine myself doing anything else, you know? Well, my brother.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so
Seriously.
much.
All right, babe. See you later.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.